Good evening, and welcome everybody to this video. Now, I'm talking about Rich again. I'm talking about RTU, and I've said a lot about Rich. I've said a lot about RTU, and when I see this situation brought forward over the social media platforms, I absolutely had to speak out. Because, a guy having that major success, having that major audience, I'm really concerned because there was a situation that I want to speak about where I was just asking myself, Rich, you could have spoken up. You could have, talked your experience. And I'll get into that. Fans, friends of the channel, this is... And trust me, you will not believe it. This is what he did not tell his fans. Now, recently, there has been a major situation, and this steamy message here is from me, the mommy, and the daddy on the X platform. Rich was, going through medical concerns related to his kids. And, for as much as a piece of crap as the guy has been about me, I think I'm going to be better than that. And I do think, talking about the children is like a little too far for my taste. A lot of people take the shots at the daughter or his kids or whatever. Personally, I think that's a little too far. And you see it here, Richard Mashimi. My daughter is in the hospital. She's okay, thank God. And I have a son who is sick with the earache. And that's why I haven't been streaming. So first thing right there, again, you got to stop bringing this up. If you don't want people to get into your personal, you don't want them to get into family, you really shouldn't be putting that kind of information like that out there. But that's not the issue here. That is not the issue that I wanted to speak about personally. So not only did RTU make these messages, he spoke about it. He spoke about, the situation involving the kids and some stress that he was going on, behind the scenes. And we understand that. And, we don't want tragedy. I don't want tragedy to befall anyone's kids. And, so take that what you will. But that isn't what concerned me. This is what concerned me. And again, this is from me, the mommy, and the daddy. Another message here. Seemingly from RT's Discord. And you have this PPP's HRT saying, I'm having my first child later this year. So I'm a lot more understanding when stuff like this happens. So I guess, you see that this is in response to the news regarding RTU's ailing children. And on the bottom here, he says, I live with my family. Turning 25 next month. So this is where I really had heat with RT, and I felt like I really had to come forward and say something about this. With his experience and, being a father and, having the family and going through, these kind of situations. Not one time that I can remember, and if any of you fans can look back at his history, and let me know if he has ever, had a conversation like this with his fans. He has never talked about the safe sex. I don't think I recall him ever talking, teaching, from his experience going through these issues. I don't feel that he has ever one time come out with his audience and said, listen, I'm gonna teach you here. I'm gonna tell you, all you young fellas, if you're, and it's sad because this fella, he says he lives with the family. I guess he got out one night and, now he's going to be having his first child. But I really don't recall, Rich taking the time with his experience being a family man to really, sit down with his audience and say, hey, this is the deal, wear a condom, use the sexual prophylactics, And I just had to speak about it. Because, with him talking about his family situation and being pretty open and transparent with his audience in regards to his family life, he has a wife, he has kids. It just really shocked me to see that this young fella now living under the sweltering roof of the mother or the father, didn't get that guidance from Rich, that he didn't, have a conversation with his audience and when he's talking family to say, to you young dudes, to you young fellas, use the protection. So thank you for listening. Feel free to drop your comments on the situation. And I thank you all.